This is the regular meeting of Stuart Municipal Utilities, January 12th, 2023 at 5:30 PM. We'll start with roll call. Kim?
Here.
Brian? Here. I'm here. Shirley?
Here.
And Craig.
Here.
Agenda approval, consent agenda. The bills are here. You can take a look at those in the minutes. When you're ready, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Kim. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Shirley. How do you vote? Kim?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
I vote aye. Shirley?
Aye.
And Craig?
Aye.
Okay, the next item is the annual budget report.
Ash and I and Sarah have been working on the budget the last few days, and we didn't make a lot of changes. It's not like we tried to reinvent the wheel or anything, but I mean, if you look at the water budget first, at the very bottom of that first page where it says senior, we did add some in there because of there's going to be a rate increase, so we had to up that a little bit. If you go to the next page, let's see, like 6551, it's where it says cell phones and GIS and stuff. We were a little short on that, so we decided to add a little bit to that for the next go around, for the next budget. And we did the same thing on the electric with that line item. And that's really all that we changed as far as expenses go on the water budget. There was not a lot of changes. When you get to the electric budget, there's a few more, but not very many.
I'm gonna ask a really stupid question here.
Okay.
But on the water budget.
Yep.
On the revenue side, it shows, light and power sales there. Why is that in the water?
It's just the name that our accounting system assigns to that line account. All of those are still water revenues.
Okay.
It's always been that.
Okay. Okay.
I will move on here.
The first page.
I'm done with the water part of it.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I was just gonna go through the electric quick and tell them everybody where we made a few changes, and one of them was fuel, because everybody knows fuel costs have gone up, so we added a little more of the fuel line item there, and rubber goods like the rubber gloves and sleeves that everybody has to wear, and meter pedestals, we added to both of those too, because I tell you what, we have to have those rubber gloves tested every few months, and the testing has gone through the roof. And it just keeps going up. I don't know why it's that way, but that's the way it is. And then you'll see if you go to like page 3 of 3, you'll see 6360, the communication equipment again there. That's our GIS mapping that we got, and cell phone and stuff like that, that it's gone up a little bit. And honestly, that's about it on the electric too. I think I hit it all. And never really is. It's just trying to tweak it a little bit so everything fits a little better. But
On the first page, it shows it there. So the first page will shows a 2023-2024 budget summary.
oh yeah, I thought you would probably do that. Yeah.
Okay, we'll go to give the conclusion of what Pat was explaining. On the revenue for the water, you'll be receiving 1.1 million. on the expense you'll be spending 7.9. That is the total project cost. You're not necessarily gonna spend that much, but we thought we put it here to show you that this is the total project plus the overage. You show a deficit of 6.7 million, that's because we bought the whole project cost. If I take the project out of the equation, you will be making profit of 300,000, approximately. So that deficit is just to show you,
You could show that on an accrual basis, couldn't you,
Yes.
could you, Ash? But
Yeah.
then,
but we work
to
on
me, that'd
cash
be a lot
basis.
more, yeah, that'd be a lot more confusing.
Our system's cash basis, so as all the small towns. But we do adjust it as we go every, when I go through the finance, I show you with and without.
Yeah.
On the electric, since we're done with the electric project, shows that you have a revenue of 2.2, expense 2.0. We will end up with profit, hopefully it will be more than that, but that's approximately what we have. The sales tax, insufficient check and utility deposit is a washout. That's the conclusion of Pat's budget, similar to last year, not a whole major change except the project that we have was a lot.
Okay,
Okay, I think Pat has those reports to.
There's also kind of included in that, there's a summary of, for the water and the electric and for the gallons, purchased gallons, that we sold and everything. How it kind of just hangs right in there. There's not a whole lot of change from year to year. Surprisingly, it doesn't go up or down. It just kind of hangs right in there. And, water salesman, I mean, it didn't even sell as much this year as it did the last couple of years after that, so that was kind of surprising, but sold Rose Acres a little bit more water, but not a lot. So no huge changes on that. If you flip back to the electric, it's really about the same. You know, what really drives the electric rates is weather. And the hotter the summer and the colder the winter. I mean, and these, when you look back 5 years, there's not a whole lot of difference in the kilowatt hours that we've sold or purchased. The only thing that's different, as you can see, is what we build is more because we've raised rates over the years. But other than that, there's not a whole lot of difference there either. It's, that's about all I got.
what's your estimate of the turbine here? I mean, is it,
All the turbine. What was your question?
well, is it,
It's just usage on here that's, you know, there's generated and produced, and there are a couple different things. Because the turbine does use power. It's got a light on it, and it turns the head, and that uses power there too. But honestly, it's kind of hanging right in there. It seemed like this year was a little windier maybe than past years, especially in the summer, so I think it did produce a little bit more. But we haven't had a lot of trouble with the wind turbine, so it hasn't been down for maintenance a lot of times. I think it was back in 2015, it was down for over a month in the summer when the lightning hit it. So, and you can kind of see it right there, there's a little bit of a dip in 2000. It's been pretty maintenance free this year.
and that's, let's see, that went in 2005.
It sounds right.
So we're, let's see, another 3 years and we'll have that in there for 20 years. I think the life expectancy, they told us, when we put that in was 25 years, 20 to 25 years.
Yeah, they say 20 years, but at the 20-year mark, I've been told that they can come in and they can change a lot of stuff, change a lot of the relays and the things that really make it work, the critical stuff, and they can get almost another 20 years out of it just by doing that. So when we get to that, I haven't asked them how much that would cost, because I'm sure the price will go up by the time that gets here.
Oh, yeah.
But that'll be an option coming up here in just a few years where we can kind of do an overhaul on that one, or we can look at a new one. But,
Would you,
not in today's market. Not for what they get for them.
What does the power produced by that go to? I mean, just go back to the general grid, is there?
Our wind turbine, it comes into our power grid here in town. Yeah, it doesn't just go back out to, say, Sipco or anything. It stays here.
and I think I recall when we put that in, that they estimated it was gonna produce about 10 to 12% of the total usage in Stuart. Is that, do you have a feeling for that?
That was correct when they put it in, but the usage has gone up so much in town since then that it's probably closer to 5 or 6% now.
Okay.
Because I was just thinking about that today, trying to come up with a number, and that, because I thought, well, maybe it's 10%, but I don't think it is, just because of the amount of usage.
Okay. Any other questions? We need a motion for this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the annual budget report?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion by Shirley, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Craig. How do you vote, Brian?
Yes.
I vote aye. Shirley?
Aye.
Craig?
Aye.
And Kim?
Yes.
Water main, the water main pay application. This is for the work that they've completed. It looks like the amount they want here is about 32,000, is that right?
So 21,
Okay. Okay. Any questions or comments there? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
How far are they on the project anyway?
As far as the water mains, they are a long ways, a lot further than we thought they would be. They have, of course, they're not working right now because of the weather. But Ben, how much would you say they got done? 3/4 at least?
Yeah, I would say probably 60-70% of the water main is in. And then
I didn't think they had planned on starting on the south side this fall, but they, yeah.
Yeah, they're making good progress.
They had some pretty good weather there for a while, so they got a lot further than they thought they would, I think, too.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Craig, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Kim, how do you vote? I vote aye. Shirley?
Aye.
Craig?
Aye.
Kim?
Yes.
Brian?
No.
Next is equipment upgrade the digger derrick.
So our digger derrick, I believe is an 84 or an 86, I think it's an 84, 1984. And I was just telling Shirley, I was still in high school, and that thing was brand new a long time ago. But sometimes we just need to upgrade things so that when we need them, we can go start them and we know they're gonna run. And we don't always have that with this truck. It would be the truck that we move transformers with, set poles, things like that. And we've been looking at, Dustin's been doing a lot of research on the used market, because there's no, a brand new one like the one we have would be over $150,000. And that would be ridiculous to spend that kind of money on it. It's not something we use every day, but we probably do use it every month for something. And it's one of those things that you don't realize how much you need it until a storm goes through and you got like a street light pole broke off or something that you gotta replace, or you gotta put in, a transformer for somebody, that's what we use. So this is just an effort to upgrade it. I'd like to get it into the 2000s. And we've been looking at some models. Of course, there's not hardly anything in Iowa for sale, so there's a place over Grand Rapids, Michigan, is that right? And they've got, some 2007s over there, and they've got 60,000-70,000 miles on them, which I'm really not too worried about. That's not that bad. It's more the hours that they have on them. But, you know, they've got some hours on them. But it's a huge upgrade from what we got. And they're running about anywhere from 25 to 35,000 for something in that. And I think something 2007, 2008, somewhere in there, that would be fine. It would be so much better than what we have now.
There's probably more features on it too, isn't there?
Well,
automatic,
automatic transmission. and things like that.
Everyone's addressed it.
Air conditioning.
No, this one had air conditioning.
Fuel
What
injection.
we're looking at was even all-wheel drive. But, which we wouldn't necessarily have to have, but that's what was on it. So, and I don't know how the board would like to go about this. I don't have a truck specifically narrowed down. We've been looking online at them, and we did have one there before Christmas. I don't even know if it's still there. But if we find something, I would like to spend about 35 grand on something to get something halfway decent. And then to have it shipped here too, instead of somewhere to pick it up. And,
Your transportation would cost you some of it too.
oh yeah, I mean, if we bought one over there in Michigan, they were gonna bring it here for $2,000. I don't know that we can even go. I mean, that's a day's drive to get there. In there.
You guys' time.
Yeah, so, but if we can come across another one, I guess I would like the board's approval to spend up to 35 grand. Something just, and then we'll sell our old one. We're not gonna keep it. And I don't know how much that old one's worth. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, I guess they say.
Just put it out for bids and
I would put it out for bids. I would think it's still worth $10,000, but who knows?
you know,
And that would help out with this cost too, of the purchasing it up front. But it's just an upgrade. I mean, we could get by with the one we got for a while yet, but it would be, every year we try to upgrade something a little bit so we don't get so far behind on the equipment. And 2007, the one we got now, I think is gas, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then we'd be the diesel, you'd have a little more horsepower. It's just gonna be a better truck all the way around. And it's the same brand of truck that we currently have. It's an All-Tech. So all the controls would be the same. And which would, for me, that would be big because that's all I've ever run. If I had to run something else, a different brand, I wouldn't be able to do it hardly. But I guess what I'm looking for is just, like I said, just approval to spend some money on something. You come across them, they're not there very long. There's a high demand for those old trucks like that. And you can look one day and it's there and the next day it's sold. And
yeah.
Ash, that's not anything that has to be financed, is it? Just a
Out of your budget.
I'm just gonna use a little bit out of the water budget because the water department would use it once in a while, not near as much as the electric, but I would use both budgets. I mean, and there's money there for it. There's enough for it.
Is it better to go to 40 just for logistics and haul it back?
Yeah, well, I mean, 40 would be great, yeah, just in case we came across something like that.
Spend up to 40.
Spend up to 40.
Need a motion?
Is there a motion?
Sure.
To spend up to 40,000 here?
Brian's,
Yeah, I'd make that.
Brian makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Shirley. I'll proceed to vote. Shirley?
Aye.
Craig?
Aye.
Kim?
Yes.
Brian?
Yep.
And I vote aye. Okay. Xenia water rate increase.
Did anybody figure out the percentage it went up? I figured you
That's not as bad as they said.
Yeah, it's not as bad.
No,
did. They told us last year it was
10 to 15.
Can we charge them a management fee of some kind?
I would agree with that.
Something, I don't know. Seriously, back bill up or something? I don't.
I think where Xenia is at is like everybody else is. I think I haven't heard a word about this regional water authority. Have you heard anything?
No, they kind of backed away from it again.
You know,
They've done that several times over the years where they talk about it like they're gonna do it and then they don't do it.
but then it kind of throws everybody into, you know, how do we deal with this? And Xenia is maybe reacting a little bit to that too, you know, we don't know what this is gonna do, so we gotta cover our bases here, but.
Everything.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Just like everybody else.
They're paying more.
And they,
So they
they,
just pass it on.
yeah. You know, and they did tell us it'd be between 10 and 15%. I think that remember it was 12, you know? So here we are a little over 8, so it could be worse, but it's not as bad as it's gonna be either, so. Do I hear a motion about this?
I'll make a motion.
Craig? Is there a second? I'll second the motion. I'll proceed to vote. Craig?
Aye.
Kim?
Yeah.
Brian?
Yeah.
I vote aye. Shirley?
Hi.
Okay. And our annual audit from our auditor.
We received the audit for last fiscal year in the June 30th, 2022. We received good opinion, that same like what we received last year. Most of the finding is something has to do with the segregation, the amount of people that we have in the city hall and all the stuff. I think everybody's getting tired of hearing that all the time. It's not gonna change.
No, and they've got to report it that way.
Yeah, so the good thing is we got good opinion, which people unmodified, that's good opinion, that's the highest.
Ash, explain on page 8 of the audit report. There's an item here about there's restricted fund balance here, and then an unrestricted. What's unrestricted mean? Is that like discretionary dollars?
Like sales tax, that's restricted. We
Right.
rely us on.
Right. And anything we have bonded has to be restricted too, right?
Yes, yeah, so that's a different place to get on. So the utility deposit that the people put and get it back, that's restricted items.
Okay. But that wouldn't be considered discretionary funds then, would it?
No, it's
I mean-
like when we went to through the budget, I showed you that OSHA account.
Yeah.
When I get deposit, I give it back to the people, just a matter of the time and show what the meeting is that sales tax, as soon as, whatever I collect, I give it to the state. So my liars on, so it's OSHA account, but it's restricted. I can't take the sales account and,
Use it for something.
Yeah, I can't. Sales tax.
Okay. I also noticed in here, these revolving loan agreements that we got.
Yes.
Can you give us, and maybe if you don't have the information now, maybe next month, give us an update on these
Yes.
revolving loan
Yeah,
accounts?
we have Selena, we have the dentist office, we have the church, and we have the daycare.
Okay,
And they all paying on time, and we might tell them to, they all paying on time. The only one we had issue was the church.
Those
So
church.
it's all-
That TIF money is going to pay that still, correct?
Was
Is that how that works? That TIF money from the city's development agreement pays that?
I think that's how that works. And
Yeah, for the church.
For the
Yeah,
church.
yes, yeah, they get the money, they pay us right away, so everything. fine.
So, is that being close to being resolved? I mean, is that just about done?
It's, oh, you mean paid off?
Yeah.
We have to stay for them for a few more years,
Okay.
but they're doing very good.
Like 5 years.
Let's- Oh, these are on page 14, under commitments. Says the utilities have made a commitment to pay the city $25,195 per year. Are those the TIF payments that we owe the city every year?
Yes, that's the 35,000 is for that building, the 35. And then you have money for Wambu,
Right,
and money for, winter,
but that's what those commitments are.
yes.
And how many years have we paid on that now?
Getting close to be done.
That's what I was
That
thinking.
was like 20 years,
Yeah.
you know, but I can look it up, but it's very close.
I,
Yeah, we're very close to be done.
So is there a way just to provide clarity to all of this that goes back and forth between the two entities? To have Chip summarize all of this, what goes in from like the wind turbine clear down to what the utilities provides the city for power?
Yeah.
And some sort of, summary and an Excel
Yeah.
table to show the amortization schedule, you know what I mean? Just to basically say, here's when this ends and.
You know, Brian, I'm just as guilty as anybody else, but I know there's, when the council sits here and talks about TIF, you can look around the room and the eyes just kind of glaze over, you know? Nobody really understands what TIF is all about, and it would be great if you or Chip or both of you would come in and just give a half an hour spiel on just what TIF is, where it comes from, where it goes.
Well, but I mean, like you mentioned this, you just forget about it over a number of years, right? Then you get new board members, new council members, and so if you could have that, then you could share that with people when they start,
Yeah,
so
we
they
have-
know how long those
we
payments
have-
last.
Yeah, and that would clear things up a lot. It would be good.
And, the utilities has been consumed at a higher rate over the years as well, right? And so the council members, I guarantee you, the new ones don't know that they get free utilities.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious.
Yeah, no.
So,
I remember the night that came out it was in a city council meeting, that the city didn't have an electric or water bill, or the eyes got big. What are you talking about, But Ash tells me that's the best way to do it, so I take your word.
I don't revisit the issue or anything, but when I came here 29 years ago, I was kind of like surprised why we do this way. Why we do it this way? That the city they put something in the utility pay to offset the cities and all this stuff. And I spent a year wondering, and then I came down to the point that after all the research and after getting before the chair was Tom Mills, Tom Mills.
Yeah.
So I had all those people to enlighten me a little bit on what's going on and why we do it this way. And then I came after all that research that this is the best way, and for reasons. And I explained that years and years that, it's like, small example, if you just go and be on your own, you pay taxes, everything you buy. But you're with the city, so you don't pay tax. That's one of the reasons that you see the combination, the package overall work very good. And then we'll start to improve because they're always fighting over that stuff. And everybody has an opinion about it. So we start to improve the relationship and we found out that the problem wasn't into what the city pays the utility, what the utility pays the city. The problem was the personality issue, that they don't get along and all that stuff. As soon as we fix that, everything went fine. And I'm talking about 29 years. You came along in the middle of it and you gave me about 20 years. Our conflict between city, when you were on the city council and utility, wasn't really anything to do with the numbers, except that we just disagreed on issues. Those belonging to personality really, but when it gets to number and explanation, the utility went along with most of the stuff and the city implemented the ideas and they did the building was us and you were on the council.
Well, it makes your accounting a heck of a lot easier.
It does, it really does, you know. So, yeah, there was a reason I said it's the best way to do it, because when I came, our budget was 500 something. We're talking about millions now, city and utility. Awesome job. The previous board, the current board, and hopefully the future board. So as a council members, previous, current, and future, all we need is sometimes just see eye to eye and cooperate, that's all. And it's not, I'm not talking about individuals, in general, that's what I have, not just here, in all the towns. They just don't get along because of just don't wanna get along. And you look at the issue itself and the finance and the cooperate, it's black and white, there's no problem with it. So hopefully, we're planning on having a joint meeting here very soon, that's maybe the chance I can say that we're planning on joint meeting on the 27th.
No, that's the special meeting, the joint meeting will be before the regular meeting.
February 12th. So we're gonna meet February 12th at 6 o'clock. February 13th, so many numbers today, so we're working on the budget. February 13th, at the next regular meeting for the council, we're gonna meet at 6 o'clock before the meeting at 6:30. We're talking about issues that maybe we'll discuss later on, you know, because there's the next item will probably be the one we're gonna talk about. So Shirley, Brian, we're gonna meet on a joint meeting, February 13th at 6 o'clock.
So would that give Chip enough time to present something for 10 minutes to say, here's what the city does, here's what the utilities
I
does?
hope, I'll call him tomorrow, so we'll have a week. The chair is busy, but if we just can't tell him to do it like.
Well, he doesn't have to come, he just
He has
has to
it.
email to us
I
and
think
look at it
he would
ourselves.
have the information,
Tell him to Brian to buy him a beer and he'll say,
you know. Not do or die. Yeah, we'll tell him we'll buy him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he will be able to do it. He will. It's information that it
He's
hasn't
already got
changed.
it in one other spreadsheet from last year or 10 years
It
ago.
hasn't changed, so he has it, and he just need to bring it with him. I'm glad we had the chance to tell the board about the joint meeting, just for have an hour.
When is that? The 13th?
13.
13 at 6 o'clock. That is, we need a motion for that.
Okay, you'll hear a motion to approve our annual audit.
I make a motion.
Shirley,
second.
second by Kim, how do you vote, Kim?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
I vote aye. Shirley?
Aye.
And Craig.
I,
Okay, next item is electric access for downtown events. You want to talk about this, Matt, or do you want us to discuss it?
I didn't know it was on your agenda.
Yep.
No.
Well, you're not on the agenda, okay?
We're revisiting that issue that Matt talked about it last meeting, about that
Yeah, you visited,
meeting, well,
and the council, I don't think the council has really got their arms around this thing, certainly not as much as I think we do. I mean, Pat and Dustin and his staff, you know, looked that over pretty carefully and has some ideas. Pat, you want to explain?
We do, we've got some material, material is really hard to get right now, that's the problem. But, I mean, we have, if everybody's kind of familiar with, like a carnival comes to town, they got a box you can plug everything into and stuff. I mean, we got some of that ordered. We're looking for cords for it now, but that'll all come.
What size cords you gotta have for that? Probably.
Big.
Yeah.
It would take a pretty good sized cord because there's a 30 amp outlet on there and a couple 20 amp outlets on that thing. And I was hoping the box would show up today and I would have brought it up here so everybody could have seen it. It was supposed to come today and it didn't. But we've got pedestals ordered too that we can put in the back alleys and then plug these boxes into them.
Those are kind of portable, though, I think.
Yeah, the boxes are very portable and the cord just, it comes right out and everything. The pedestals is gonna be the holdup.
Okay.
So, I mean, everything's terrible. They're not making them right now. They're only making their big sellers, which are meters that you put on a house or something
Well,
like that.
You know, as
So-
you recall, this came from the fact that the Chamber of Commerce and Matt brought the chamber in, and Seed came in too, and talked to us about this, and I remember sitting up there, Harry and I were at the registration booth for RVTV. And you couldn't hear yourself think because all the generators, and they had to have generators going for those vendors. And I mean, it was loud. And when they came and said, God, it'd be great if we had some kind of electrical system uptown that all those vendors could plug into, it just makes a lot of sense. And I think, Pat, what are you estimating the cost would be here?
Well, with what we got ordered right now, we're about, well, 5, and I mean, maybe we're probably gonna spend 10 to 12
Okay,
on it, 1,000.
you know, and
And, I mean, we're gonna dig into it a little more because we might have to find some sort of a replacement for the cord that we thought we were gonna be able to get with these boxes and we're not. But we'll figure it out, we'll get something, but it's just a matter of availability right now. And the supply chain is still terrible in a lot of cases and,
there'd be a lot of uses, you know, RVTV is the one that showed me what the need was.
Yeah.
But I'm sure the same thing happens on on Scoop the Loop and Good Egg Days.
That's
And-
long.
And they all seem to be moving downtown, which I think is a good thing too, having those activities downtown, so. But if we can,
just to give you an idea, I ordered some pedestals, and this is just for the everyday average resident in town. Everybody's got pedestals, meter in it and all that. I ordered them back in May, and they told me October. October came and went, so I called them, and then they said Christmas. So I called them the other day, and now they're saying, well, sometime around Easter. And they just keep pushing them back. They're available. The factories are not up and running yet.
So did we decide who was paying for this? Are we paying for it all
well,
or?
I guess and I thought some about this because I was at the council meeting the other night when Matt, when the council discussed it very briefly, they didn't talk about it very much. But, you know, to my way of thinking, this is gonna be our project. You know, our guys are gonna do the work, and it's electrical equipment, it's an electrical system. I'd say let's just pay it and be done with it.
I agree with you. That's where the revenue's gonna come from, is
That's
electric,
right.
you know, it's just like, Mid-America's trying to get out of paying for the gas expense right across to the south side of the interstate. So they want the city to pay for it or Quick Start, but they're the ones getting the revenue for it, you know? Utilities put in water to go across the interstate, the city put in sewer, but, you know, they're not one to put in gas cards.
Let's have a motion with no people put it behind us.
Now, are we gonna meter it then?
I mean,
Oh, you can't meter this?
well, these pedestals will have meters on it,
But you can't attribute that to,
but are we gonna charge
Well, this
anybody
is-
for
this
it,
is-
or
this
this
is
is the
now-
big question?
Matt, you wanna explain how that's done?
Well, the event organizers can charge a vendor fee, and they can have the upcharge for providing the electrical service. The utility can get that upcharge.
is there a way to quantify that off of an event? How many, you know, people registered last time? Because if you spend electric fund money, you wanna look at a recoupment on how long it's gonna take to get your money back. So if you collect that fee, you know, is there 100 people that pay some sort of upcharge or?
Here's my thought, Brian. Whatever, and it's usually the chamber or seed that's doing these things.
Yeah, true.
And
Volunteers.
charging that. I think it would be a huge hassle to bill that stuff out. Let the chamber charge those vendors to do that, and then it's like a donation to the chamber. The chamber can keep that money used for their activities. And save us the headache of trying to sort that all out. Because it's not gonna be a whole lot, but,
But we still have to meter to show no loss.
Well,
I was just thinking if we're gonna call it the electric fund, I was just thinking we would try to charge to get some sort of revenue back out of that, because otherwise, to me, it does become a shared
All the-
expense.
and all
I
the,
don't know.
all the power we give to the city is free of charge anyway,
Right.
you know,
True.
so. I guess I'm just,
I just want to meter it so we can keep track. of
oh, we
it.
got a meter, I agree.
Otherwise it goes as line loss
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So whether we pay for, or whether we get reimbursed for it or not, I'll leave it up to you guys. I can see both sides of it.
Are there controls around if they're portable? Is that,
These are, yeah,
they'll be portable, so there's no chance of them being just stationary where someone could try to manipulate it or take advantage of it when they're
no,
not.
when we put the
Not for
pedestals, when we put the pedestals in the back, in the alleys where the power is, those are gonna be, they're gonna stay there. They'll be there forever and ever. That's a one-time deal. And then this stuff, we can move it around a little. Wherever it's needed.
So the meter is gonna be down on the pedestal.
Yeah, it is, yep. Cause you can order those pedestals either way, with a meter or without, but I think it would be better just so we can kind of keep track of.
Yeah, you can put a
what
line
we're
item,
using.
you can put a line item in your budget that, you know, this is event. This is usage for an event or whatever, so.
Okay, what action on that, so we can have it on the record that we will bear the cost.
Okay, do I hear a motion? We can talk about how we wanna, you know, take any revenue, how we deal with the revenue, we can deal with that later. But
Yes.
I'd say let's go ahead and get this ball rolling, because past,
Yeah, we just need a motion to
You forget some.
bear the cost or
Stuff.
do I hear a motion on electric access for downtown events?
Make a motion.
I'll second.
Craig, Kim, how do you vote? Brian?
Yes.
I vote aye. Shirley?
Aye.
Craig?
Aye.
And Kim,
Yes.
okay?
Try to be 2024 before we have everything we need.
That's why we need to get it started.
I know, it's, I ordered some more stuff today, 36 weeks out. We're looking at October.
Pipeline.
yes.
There are some things that have gotten better and some have gotten worse.
Oh, okay, city administrator reports.
This goes smooth. Easy. The first report is the financial statement. We show that we have 9.8 million in the bank. The next page explains what that money we've been allocated between the beginning of the year, July 1st of 2022, until the end of December. We shown a loss of 1.9 million. That's with the project of the water. Without a plus number of 559,000. So budgeting wise, operating budgeting wise, we're doing okay. Next page, the budget we have is 3.7 and now we're at 3.9, so we're exceeding. But that's understandable because of the project. We'll amend it here in the next few months. Page 4 shows the same thing, the beginning of December to the end of December. We made a loss of 238,000, that's with the project. Without the project, we made a plus number of 80,000. Next page is a breakdown of our budget. You see that the water is the one over budget by 1.9 million. That's why we over budget, but we will amend it. This page is for your information. We go into the delinquent account report. We have 3 vehicles with the check mark on right and left hand. We have one person on the first page, another one on the second page, and the last one will be on the third page down to the bottom. The next report is a delinquent account paid in full. There is no change on that report, and that takes you through the first 3 pages to the next report. We'll say payment agreement. We have 6 people we added to that report with the check mark on the right and left. That takes care of that report. The next report is a payment agreement paid in full. We have 2 people will be showing on page 2. And page 4. And that takes us all the way to page 6 to finish that report. We go to the budget billing, no change of that report. And next report, we have deceased and bankrupt, no change also. The last report is the offset program, and that's for your information to see what we've been collecting so far. That takes care of that report.
Okay, thanks, Ash. Thank you. Public forum, anything? Yeah?
I have
Go ahead.
one thing, just, Mike Morgan is doing us the IT work, and we be really using him a lot. He comes from Google, and every meeting, we have issues to go to the meeting to set up the stuff. And so he's been really going out of his way.
Yeah, do you want to come back?
So we gotta increase it from 200 to 400, the city may have, utility may have. And I informed the city with that, I'm just informing you, we gotta take care of him, he's taking care of us.
And they're just locking in next time.
We will.
Anything else?
Oh, we can talk. Has anybody seen the water tower going on?
I have, I was gonna mention
They're just
that.
getting started.
Yeah, I was over there this afternoon. They're starting to set it up, so.
They got the bottom part of, I forget what they call the bottom part, the teepee, is that what it is? Yeah.
That's
They
what it
got-
looks like.
Yeah, it is. And it comes primed like that, and then when the weather's.
It's pretty good, green.
Yeah, it is. They'll paint it over there, but it comes all primed and everything, and they just put it together and weld it as it goes up. And
It's, the thing that surprises me is that I thought it was gonna take a lot bigger footprint than it's going to. It's just not taking up a lot. What's the diameter of that?
Oh, boy, I don't
It must be
remember.
the bottom-
25 or 30 feet. Isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think more than 25.
I was surprised that it's not taking up more space than it is over there,
It'll look bigger once we get the bowl on top.
so.
Yeah, you're right. Right now, it doesn't look like it's taking up that much room, but they got a good start on it. And they were working on it all day today. I don't know if they'll be back tomorrow or not. We were talking about that earlier. I don't know if they're gonna work Fridays or if they're gonna take Fridays off, but they'll, I think it's got 2 months and they'll have it done.
Well, they were out there welding this afternoon and it was pretty miserable cold, so they seem to be excited about getting it.
Apparently the weather doesn't bother them as far as the welding and all that, so that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
The only unknown so far right now is what the paint is gonna cost. They're gonna paint it and that's part of the deal, but we're gonna have Stuart put on it and if we have SMU put on the column, some of that is undetermined yet at this time. And I just talked to the engineer about it last week and he's gonna try and get a number from them and see what a final number's gonna be. So
Okay.
it's, and do you want Stuart east, west, or north, south? These are big decisions.
Oh.
Less Dexter on, I don't wanna throw everybody off.
Yeah. We could put a sad face on ours. Anything else? Dustin?
Well, the painting of the name Stuart on the
Oh,
side.
that was
Yeah,
what we
yeah,
talked
they're
about.
gonna paint it, that's
Yeah.
part of the project.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Pat, can you let him explain the SIPCO call for us to generate?
Oh,
that's a
yeah,
huge one.
we got called the other night, we had to generate for a while, and what happened, well, it was really cold out, but so SIPCO's got this big new generator they put in down here in Creston, and that was supposed to kind of take care of that. Got it up and running here maybe 8 months ago, 10 ago to full capacity. Well, everybody, when it was that cold, there was a lot of, Magellan is the big pipeline company in the state that handles a lot of the natural gas. They called SIPCO and told them, you turn that thing down or we're gonna make you turn it off. Well, they made them turn it off and change it over to diesel fuel is what they did. And it's not near as efficient on diesel fuel because it just wasn't enough natural gas
Oh,
available for everybody. If you look at everybody that's generating, these big companies. 'Cause there's another one over by, Brayton somewhere, there's another big generating outfit over there that, they had to shut down as well.
Because they're on natural gas.
Because they're on, and I say they shut down, they had to switch over to diesel fuel. They had to quit using natural gas, which is way more efficient. And then you got all of us that have gas furnaces that have them cranked up, and there just wasn't enough gas available. So we had to come in, run generators for, what, three or 4 hours? 4 hours, yeah, from about, what, 4:30 to 8:30, something like that in the evening. We
Oh,
got to
yeah.
call. They've got all of our cell phone, what's that?
Do they pay you to generate when they call you?
Yeah, we get a credit, well, we get a credit every month just for having a generation. And then when they call us to generate, they pay us $3.
That's what I thought.
It's not much.
No,
Not as much as it used to be.
no, it's the
But they
credit.
used to have to generate every month, didn't they?
Yeah, they used to, especially in the summer.
Well, they don't give us any credit for these old engines anymore, but
Right.
that's been for quite a while. It's just the two cats. They do give
At
us.
least you got paid to exercise.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they got a good workout.
Yeah.
But I mean, when we run them, we do an urge test every year and we want to give them this much this year. And we don't max them out. We don't want to hurt them by just running them all out all the time. So when they call us to generate, that's what we run. You know, we could produce more, but the more you produce, the closer you get to the limit of them, you're shortening the life of them.
Yeah.
So we got to kind of pull back a little bit, and that's what everybody.
They'll get enough,
Oh yeah,
they get what they want. from it.
yeah, and it's been the same amount for the last, ever since we've had those generators. Haven't really changed it. But every year we have to prove that we can produce that much. So probably sometime in March or April when it's still nice and cool out, Dustin will go down there with everybody and it'll be a learning situation. Yeah, I should go down there too. But, do an urge test and that's how much that, we produce. However much we produce, we can produce that much for them at any given time. That's what they expect. It's different. SIPCO is different now in the fact that there's a regional authority, a federal authority over that now, and it's called MISO.
No.
And SIPCO is not part of it, but they are under their authority just because of where we are. And MISO is,
Pretty much Midwest, isn't it?
yeah, it is. It covers a big chunk of the Midwest, all the way down to the Gulf Coast almost. And if they have somebody in Arkansas that can't generate, they generate. I mean, it's that crazy. And it's,
So it's really, it really throws a wrench into SIPCO's planning.
it does. And they go through, they call SIPCO and say, we need to have you produce. Well, their first, if they can't produce enough, well, then all of a sudden they're calling us to generate. And all the other towns, I think there's 13 towns in Simeca, and I think 11 of us have generation. So everybody fires up the generators.
None of the RECs can generate, can they?
They do not generate. The only thing the RECs can do is they have interruptible load that they can just drop. And they have an agreement with these places that we're gonna give you about 20 minutes warning and we're gonna shut power off to you. And so instead of generating, they just shed load.
Not to change the subject, but one other item. Where are we at? And do we need to begin to look at engineering the south side for these chargers, car chargers?
Well, we've already talked about that with
Right.
DGR and they haven't gotten very far with it because right now they're still working on the light plant and bypassing the light plant. And we're working on that with them, which I would like the next 6 months, we should be getting somewhere with that.
Can we start looking at, I can't imagine that with the push for these things, that there's not gonna be some federal money coming out for for those things. Is there any way we can start looking